Folks, we are entering our 8th month of doing YouTube wholeheartedly, and not only am I incredibly thankful for where we all stand, but I am also in a mood to look back and celebrate what led us all here. Well over a year ago, I released my first ever guide, which covered a favorite of mine, tallbird farming. And this was back when I was still streaming and had no intentions of producing for YouTube at all. So this thing went live before I barely even touched 200 subs total. And I can't think of any better way to kick off our retrospective-esque month than revisiting an old friend. Or in this case, it would probably be friends, as a Tallbird farm is nothing without a Tallbird Fortress at play. These set pieces house anywhere from 14 to 19 total eyeballs with legs and can be quite crowded, as you can see. The potential coming from these locations is astounding, as before you lies countless food opportunities, an abundance of resources beyond measure, and even a low-key Krampus farm if you know what the heck you're doing. But if you don't, no worries, friend, cause what do you think we're frickin' doing here? So, I guess it's just time for us to repeat everything we said a year ago, right? Of course, and as you would imagine, the only thing I can't help you with here is the actual spawning of the set piece itself. So it's on you whether or not you want to keep generating worlds till you get one. That being said, locating a potential fortress should come fairly easily, as they have a strong tendency to form within the mosaic biomes of our worlds, aka the ones with the rock den where we can get our pets. I'd certainly begin there. However, know that other rocky biomes and even grasslands have seen fortress spawns, so keep an eye out there, friends. Past Beard told everyone that some good old run and gun was a possibility when it came to potentially clearing these places, and while present Beard doesn't fully disagree, he still believes his past self is an absolute loon. Is clearing them this way doable? Abso-frickin-lutely. But it will take you far too long, require way more than what is needed on the materials front, and it's just kinda too dangerous for most people out there. Even with a kiting pattern as easy as it is for tall birds, these things do hit very hard, have a very decent set of health, and just getting overwhelmed in this area is kind of inevitable for the most part. So it seems to me the better option for the majority is to hire some help. Like Klopp, for example, come his arrival in the first winter, we can just drag him to the fortress, get him to attack the rats with unusually long legs, then sit back and relax as the mob-on-mob violence commences. Now, Klops could very well get himself pummeled to oblivion too, but try your best to limit the amount of birds he's battling at one time. And with his freezer mechanic, we should be seeing him besting the majority of the beasts with ease. Chances are though, he will die, and you'll have to go about cleaning up whatever little mess he has left behind. But if he does happen to survive, and that's a big if, don't murder him just yet. Instead, use him to break all the numerous rock formations among the fortress to not only save you an absolute crap ton of time, but also prevent you from blowing pickaxe after pickaxe after pickaxe on this place. But before we move on, I offer an alternative, our fluffy pal Berger, with having much more health, his newly restored charge ability, which we might touch on later, and an effective area of effect attack useful in both clearing the birds and the rocks. Berger is a wonderful option, albeit one that will require much more patience, as he ain't showing his big bad butt until the second autumn in most cases. Oh, and he'll also de-aggro a whole lot, requiring much intervention from you, and oh, he also likes to eat your profits, so it's kinda your choice who's better. But I will say, Berger will always be the better option. Now, even with feathers flying everywhere and rocks cleared, you ain't out of the woods yet, friend. Perhaps using all them gathered materials, we need to wall off and contain each and every nest we see in a matter of 2.5 days, before, of course, the tall birds respawn. The pens you make can be small, even smaller than what you see me doing here. But we cannot make them stupidly small, as we still need to give the birds space to spawn and roam just a little bit. But I would recommend leaving spaces for doors for ease of access later on as well. This might seem like a lot of work and a complete waste of resources, but remember now, you did have Klopp or Berger do most of the heavy lifting, and the rocks gained from that should absolutely be the bulk used in the construction of all these pens. So it really is not a big deal, especially when you consider just how much loot is going to be coming from this farm. Will you be able to make all the pens with the rocks gathered? Probably not. But just one more quick rock gathering should be all that's needed. Finish up, wait for the birds and eggs to respawn, very key there. See how your containment has fared, and now the farm is on. With each bird trapped, we can have just a lovely time committing murder one-on-one if handled wisely. And the best part is that even while behind walls, the kiting pattern remains the same. A fair warning though, sometimes our characters struggle with certain angles when it comes to kiting beyond walls, but remain vigilant, dodge when needed, and simply slaughter them all to your pleasure. It can be time consuming by your lonesome depending on who you're playing of course, and if you suck at kiting, well then friend, this ain't for you. But trust me, this is an achievable farm for all. Furthermore, as much as it pains me to say it, Chester, specifically Shadow Chester, is your friend when it comes to transporting all them eggs you're gonna be nabbing. So what's the purpose of this farm? What's the big deal, Beard? Why do you love it so much? Well, each tall bird dead means 2 meats and an egg. So you can walk away from a day of murder with the potential set of nearly 40 meats and 20 eggs that will never go to waste. And what the heck do I mean by that? Well, you see, tall bird eggs in their normal state will never ever spoil. One must cook them in order to begin that process. So you have an abundance of food simply just waiting to be used by you whenever you please. And can get more every 2.5 days all cycle long. As tall birds do not have spawning constraints, this farm is ridiculous, folks. But why rehash this video, Beard, if nothing really has changed and you're just preaching what you've preached before? Well, for one thing, plenty has changed, as Winona was certainly clueless when it came to tinkering back in the day, so we were incapable of even imagining the possibility of integrating her machines into our farms. Since then, we've grown to discover just the incredible potential of her generators and catapults, and as you can see, we can apply that very potential here. Screw wasting all them rocks on penning each and every one in individually. Simply keep your machinery safe and draw their aggro. The catapults are gonna handle the dirty work now. Of course, this is a bare bones, inefficient example that is just simply here to showcase an alternative method. Create more catapults for yourself, and you will decimate their population every 2.5 days with ease. Just make note, of course, you can't use regular walls. You either gotta use fossils or end tables, because your catapults will destroy every other man-made wall available. And you know, folks, that's kind of it, I think. This is how our little lookbacks are gonna be, I believe. Presenting a pre-existing set of information with a little more pizzazz over that of my past self, and if you look back, you know what I'm talking about. And adding the little, more than likely new things and mechanics that were missing in the previous entry. Will I cover everything? No, that's not the point. And to be honest, I am mostly doing these for me, as I find the prospect of returning to my older works the fun bit, and honestly, a humbling thing. But I do thank each and every one of you for coming along for that ride. Well, wishes to all, folks. Take care for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.